King Media in association with Boxro, Ben Shalom and Jack Catterall. Start with Ben.
Yes.
He signed Jack. What kind of statement was it signing Jack? Because obviously he was a big name before, but obviously the performance against Josh Taylor, I'm guessing everybody was after him.
Yeah, it was one of our first biggest nights, that month where we had Eubank, Carnbrook and obviously Taylor Catterall. It was a big night for us, and obviously I'm actually sat next to the unified world champion right now, so it's an amazing signing, massive, probably the fighter most in their prime in our stable that's done things that we've not seen before and is ready to go now. So delighted obviously to get it done. We know the fight he wants, but we also know what he wants to achieve in the sport and the longevity he wants to have. He wants to be selling out arenas. He wants to bring boxing to Manchester, which is perfect for us. And I think it's going to be an amazing journey.
Ben spoke quite highly of you there, Jack. One of the things I want to point out is, straight after your last fight with Josh, Ben was quite open about, the scorecards. Sometimes promoters try and play a bit neutral, but Ben was quite outspoken about it. Was that quite important for you, obviously, signing with Ben?
Of course it was, yeah, it was nice. I received a lot of support after the last fight, but Ben were quite vocal, and that was a big thing for me in signing with Boxer and Sky, knowing that the promoters for the fighter and supports him in the decisions.
And what have they got lined out for you? I'm guessing you've got a plan lined out for the next 12 months. Are we going straight into a Josh Taylor fight, or can you not reveal yet?
So I know me and Ben have had conversations. There's fights in the pipeline, and we've set out a path of stuff that I want to achieve. Josh is a fight that's there to be made. Hopefully get that done. If not, but there's options going forward, and I'm excited, like Ben said, to keep building now, push forward and be in some big fights.
What are these options, Ben? You don't have to tell me who he's fighting next, but what kind of fights are we talking about if it's not Josh?
Look, the obvious one is Josh. We can see that Josh wants to fight. He's vacated most of the belts. This isn't a voluntary defence. This is a rematch that needs to happen because Jack won the first fight. So first of all, that's one thing. I think he wants to be a world champion. He feels like he's already a world champion. And there's a lot of opportunities in that division right now. It's wide open, and it's just exciting. I want him to fight in the Manchester Arena a couple of times in the next 12 months. We're, big fans of Anthony Croller and Ricky Hatton before him, and seeing what they've done in Manchester for boxing around the country. So there's a lot of big options. Josh Taylor's the obvious one that we want first. I do think it will happen, and that's a massive fight. But he's 28. He's got the best years ahead of him now, and it's just exciting to start.
Would that happen in Scotland, do you reckon, or back in England?
I think looking at it, that fight sells out anywhere, so you do want it in the biggest arena you can possibly get. I think, look, I don't think we're too bothered. We're a bit inflexible with that. Whether it's London, whether it's Manchester, whether it's in Scotland, it's a massive fight. And we just want it in the best place, the biggest place possible. Obviously, ideally for Jack, ideally for myself, it would be in Manchester, just because I think it's the best place for the fight to be. I think that's what the narrative is. I think that's what the fans would love to see. Imagine seeing Josh Taylor, having had Jack go into the cauldron that is Glasgow, and then coming down, having to come to Manchester and prove everyone wrong. And fair play to Josh, because he could have ran off, gone up to 147 like everyone expected. But he knows what... A lot of people know what happened that night. And Josh is a champion as well, and he wants to correct that, and so fair play to him, and I just can't wait to get that fight on.
And with regards to all the belts that Josh has given up, I think he's just got one left. Which one of the belts do you want out of the ones he's given up?
You know what, it's come back round full circle for me. I was mandatory for the WBO belt, and that'll be the belt that Josh has in his keep still, along with the Ring magazine, I believe. So, you know what, that moment's been and gone now. In February, we look past that. That moment won't come back around to fight for all four belts in one swoop, but I'm confident in my ability, God willing, beat Josh and go on and collect the rest of the world titles.
Just to wrap up, have you got a rough time frame when Jack's back in the ring?
Yeah, before the end of the year, 100%, November, December. Hopefully in Manchester, but we'll see. But I'm hoping it'll be the big one. I'm hoping maybe for the first time we're looking in, obviously we talked a lot about the judging that night. As Jack said, he'll never get that moment back. That's a devastating thing about it. He'll never fight for all four belts against Josh Taylor again. And that's something we're looking at. Maybe this will be in the rematch, might be the first fight where we see a different scoring system. Maybe we'll see open scoring for the first time. Maybe we'll see 5 judges rather than 3. That's something we want to work on. We think that would be the perfect fight to try something new. Let's see what happens.
Is that realistic? 'Cause I've not come across that. Is that something somebody's working on?
Look, we've been, I've said it openly, we've been working on ideas since that first fight because there's a genuine problem. Obviously, people talked about Albania a couple of weeks ago, and you know what? I am sat there and I am slightly, it is embarrassing sometimes, but I think when it's a fight of that magnitude, and I mean, sometimes you can never excuse it, but there's some fights where you know who's coming and there's a journeyman and there's this and there's that, and that's why boxing's always been built, because at the end of the day you're building stars. But when it's a unified world title and when there's that much on the line, there can't be any subjectivity, there can't be any messing it around, and anything that can be done to help that, we've been on that since February, and maybe we'll get something in place in time. Let's see.
Sound. And just to wrap up with you, Jack, you and Josh have had loads of back and forward online. Do you want to look into the camera and send a message to Josh? I don't know if negotiations are going on or not. Ben's been quite coy about that, but have you got a message for Josh?
Yeah, there's no message for Josh really. Be ready, no excuses. I'm in the gym training. Let's get the fight on.
Hope so, man. Any final messages from you, Ben?
All good, mate.
Thank you.